everybody. Today we're taking a look at Pirate Borg, the starter set, and Down Among the Dead. So, to get started, I'll show you guys what all is included with the starter set. Now, even if you have the core game, it is still beneficial to get the starter set because it is more of a streamlined version of the rulebook. It doesn't have all the same stuff. It does have some additional monsters, some additional missions and things like that. Now it also does come with dice. You got your cards, some dry erase markers, which I really like that it came with those, by the way. We have the Trapped in the Tropics adventure. Then we have some very glossy character sheets. Now this is what the dry erase markers are for, so that way you can actually reuse those. And then another character type sheet pop out, and then we have some maps of some of the ships. From different angles. Some overall maps of the area. Now, obviously, we haven't punched everything out, just because I typically save those not for our review sessions, but for our true campaign sessions when we're really getting into it. And then at the bottom of the box, we do have the quick chart as well. Now, overall, just with the sheer amount of stuff that you're getting with this, it is a great price. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but much lower than I would have expected. The rules continue to still be easy to grasp, easy to pick up. And again, with the Borg titles, you can mix and match them with the other Borg titles as well and kind of blend those all together. More so the MÖRK Borg and the Pirate Borg stuff. And then the Trapped in the Tropics campaign or mission, what have you. It is a adventure that is, showcasing the exploration, general combat, the curses. It teaches mechanics as you play, and just generally captures the overall tone of dealing with the undead, greed, danger, and the game's overall dark humor, which honestly is a perfect fit for me and my group. And again, even if you have the core book, this is definitely worth picking up just for all the extra features alone, plus the well-designed campaign right out of the box that comes with it. Now, for Down Among the Dead, oops, I'm gonna back this up just a little bit so we don't keep hitting the camera. Now again, Free League does a fantastic job with their production quality. I mean, just look at how striking that book is. And honestly, even if this wasn't a game that we already played, I would want this just for the production value and be able to use as reference. Anytime I'm looking for any sort of inspiration for some of my other campaigns. I love the art on the cover. I love that it's also textured as well. It just kind of gives it a nice little added element. The box for the starter set is the same way as well. Now, the expansion itself is not just a light supplement, it is a full expansion. The only thing that doesn't really come with is just added peripherals like the starter set has. But honestly, you don't need them. And then some of the players commented that it did kind of feel like a slightly different tone, even though it was still very similar to the core game, I didn't really notice that much of a shift in how the campaign was being played, but my players did comment on that. There are new classes, specifically some examples are the Antiquarian, which is kind of a relic-obsessed explorer, the Deep One, which is otherworldly, kind of abyss-touched. Think of the kind of fish creatures in Innsmouth from H.P. Lovecraft and things like that. And then the Unlocked Soul, which is an escaped ghost that's basically running out of time. Usually has some additional I can't remember, unresolved issues that it's got to resolve before it can move on. And then it does include some D66 skills. It does have optional advancement paths for when your characters are leveling up and expanding. And it does allow for some variations with house rules, but honestly, when it comes to house rules, there's no game that truly stops people from doing that. It might be more of a kind of frowned upon for certain games, but definitely not this one. And again, it also works for some great inspiration, especially like if you're looking to have a in-depth pirate story that is dealing with the undead and stuff, but maybe playing like Outgunned, and you're doing a pirate story with that, using those mechanics. This would be great for just kind of the general overall background. Oops. And then now it is more horror based than the core game, and it is a little bit more intense in that regard. And some of the scenarios can be a little on the gruesome side, so maybe save this for some older players, or at least some players mature enough to handle that kind of story. It does have some stronger emotional pressures, and again, the overall subject matter just is a little bit darker than the core game and the starter set. Now, this does assume that you're familiar with the Pirate Borg game itself, which makes sense because it is an expansion to it, not its own standalone box. And so you are able to do it paired just with the starter set or the actual core book, or both, but it is ideal to be playing with one or the other with it. And with this book, it does focus less on the kind of onboarding of players and teaching them as you play, so less of that than in the starter set. And so it's already assuming that the basic mechanics of the core game, and gets you going pretty quickly. Now, it does not add an excess of new mechanics, so it's a lot easier transition for players going in from the core game to this. And honestly, for the overall quality, it is probably one of the best additions to a core game that Free League has done. The only exception for me being the Alien games and all of their expansions. I mean, because that is, in my opinion, their best title that they've done. But this one, just in terms of quality and storytelling, they did a phenomenal job. And so if you are a fan of the board games or Pirate Borg specifically, this is definitely worth picking up just for the added story alone. And again, just because the actual overall production quality is just fantastic. It looks great on the shelf, so highly recommend. I want to say thank you to Free League for sharing these with us. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to jumping back into the depths and exploring further and seeing how far we can get into the story and go from there. But again, overall, Free League did a phenomenal job, and so thank you to them once again, thank you guys as always for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Now I'm set, painting minis with no regret. Set up fast, tear down clean. It's the slickest station I've ever seen. Whether game or hammer, Walking Dead or Apex, create trophies to get that clear specs. No clutter, no stress, just pop and play. Take your squad and save the day, babe. I've tried the rest, but this one slays. From dungeon crawlers to sci-fi rays, it's my go-to. My tabletop jam, create trophies, the kit, yes ma'am. So if you're a hobbyist like me, here's the link to paint stress free. Join the fun, let your colors run free. Whether you're game or hammer, The Walking Dead or Apex, create trophies to get that clear specs. No clutter, no stress, just pop and play. Put your squad and save the day. I've tried the rest, but this one slays. From dungeon crawlers to sci-fi rays, it's my go-to. My tabletop jam, create trophies, the kit, yes ma'am. So if you're a hobbyist like me, here's the link to paint stress free. Join the fun, let your colors run free.